There is a difficult truth to accept. Relationships often do not collapse because of one dramatic event, but because of small cracks that persist over time, slowly eroding trust and the sense of peace within each person. People call these red flags warning signs, and yet, ironically, most of us are quick to overlook them. In daily life, many choose to comfort themselves with thoughts like, "He probably didn't mean it. She's just a little hot-tempered, or every couple has problems." This habit of rationalizing allows tiny hurts to pile up layer by layer until there is nothing left to save. Stoic philosophy offers a reminder that is simple yet powerful. Distinguish between what lies within your control and what does not. Love is no exception. We cannot control another person's actions or emotions, but we can choose to look honestly at the truth. Instead of denying or covering over the signs that something feels wrong, we need the courage to admit when something is making us lose our inner freedom. If you have ever felt that you had to sacrifice too much of yourself just to keep a relationship alive, or if you have ever chosen silence and swallowed your pain just to maintain a fragile sense of peace, then these reflections are for you. Let us explore the subtle yet dangerous signals that can corrode love, and more importantly, learn how to stand firm like a Stoic, calm, clear, and unwilling to let anyone dim the true worth of your being. One of the earliest signs, often dismissed too easily, is the absence of genuine communication. At the beginning of a relationship, we share everything: stories, feelings, dreams. But as time goes on, honesty is gradually replaced by silence, avoidance, or half-hearted answers. On the surface, this may seem harmless. People tell themselves, "I don't want to make a big deal," saying it won't change anything, or simply, "better to keep the peace." But silence builds an invisible distance. You no longer know what your partner truly thinks or feels. Instead, you are left to guess, to interpret, to assume. And like a shadow, doubt begins to creep into love. Stoic wisdom reminds us, truth never harms anyone. Only illusion brings suffering. In love, it is better to know a hard truth than to live in uncertainty. Honest communication does not always sound pleasant, but it is the only foundation strong enough to build lasting trust. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened and opened your heart to your partner? If it has been too long, the relationship may already be drifting toward danger. For when truth is no longer spoken, love itself begins to lose its breath. Once honest communication fades, what often follows is the painful sense of not being supported. In love, we hope that when we share our dreams or our struggles, the one beside us will become our source of strength. Yet, in reality, there are times when we receive only silence, or worse, dismissal. Imagine sharing an important idea or plan only to hear a careless reply, "That will never work." At first, you may laugh it off, telling yourself they are only joking. But if this happens again and again, your spirit begins to erode, your confidence weakens, and the relationship that should have been a place of support instead becomes the very place where you doubt yourself most. From the Stoic perspective, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Hold on to your value, for no one can take it from you unless you allow it." A healthy relationship is not where you must fight to prove your worth, but where that worth is recognized and uplifted. If you are constantly diminished, if your needs are ignored when you long for support, then that is a clear red flag. And never forget, support does not always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it is as simple as a look of empathy or a quiet phrase, "I believe in you," or "I'm here with you." Without these small acts, love easily turns into a monologue where only one person is trying and the other remains outside. When you are no longer listened to or supported, another consequence often emerges. Your personal needs begin to be neglected. Love is not meant to be the complete dissolving of two people into one, but rather the companionship of two individuals who still keep their own identity. Yet many gradually lose this balance. You may have experienced putting aside your rest to attend a gathering your partner arranged, or giving up personal interests because they were labeled useless or unimportant. Once or twice may be acceptable, but when it becomes routine, you suddenly realize you are no longer living for yourself. Stoic philosophy reminds us, a free soul cannot exist in a body that is enslaved. If you continually ignore your basic needs, whether it be sleep relaxation or long-term aspirations, just to chase after someone else's desires, then your inner freedom is already fading. Love in that case is no longer a place of nourishment, but an invisible chain. A healthy relationship must be one in which both people are respected in their time, their health, their careers, and their dreams. Only when each individual's needs are cared for can love grow from abundance, not from emptiness. Ask yourself, do you still have the space to care for yourself, to breathe, to grow, or does everything revolve around the other person? The answer will tell you whether you are living in a relationship of equality or trapped in one that is slowly becoming toxic. When personal needs are no longer respected, relationships often take a more dangerous step: excessive control and jealousy. At first, it may disguise itself as care, a message asking, "Where are you?" or a comment, "Don't go out with that person anymore." But when this care becomes constant, it gradually turns you into someone living under surveillance. Many people reassure themselves, "He's only worried about me," or "She's just jealous because she loves me so much." But true love does not imprison. If your phone, your social media, even your friendships are being monitored, then it is no longer love. It is control. The Stoics emphasized, the free person is the one who masters himself. In a relationship, that freedom cannot be taken away in the name of love. For if you must report every step you take, you have already lost a part of yourself. And love cannot grow on the soil of fear. Excessive jealousy creates a vicious cycle. The more you are controlled, the more you long to break free. The more you long to break free, the tighter the control becomes. In the end, both people sink into exhaustion and insecurity. Remember this, a healthy relationship gives you a sense of safety even when you are not together. If love turns into a cage, then sometimes the bravest choice is to step out to reclaim your freedom. Sacrifice is a natural part of love. When we love, we are willing to yield, to take a step back so the other can feel at ease. But the line between healthy sacrifice and exploited sacrifice is dangerously thin. Skipping your personal hobby once in a while to attend a party with your partner can be seen as flexibility. Yet if you constantly set aside your dreams, your work, or even other important relationships just to please them, that sacrifice turns into captivity. You are no longer yourself. You become a shadow molded by the expectations of someone else. Stoic philosophy reminds us, no one can force you to give up what is essential to your nature unless you consent. Sacrifice, if it does not come from freedom and willingness, quickly becomes a burden. It does not nourish love. It erodes it. In many cases, those who sacrifice too much comfort themselves with the thought, as long as my partner is happy, that is enough. But the truth is, no relationship can be healthy if only one person gives while never receiving. Love requires a balanced exchange, not a one-sided trade. Ask yourself, are you sacrificing out of love or out of fear of losing love? The answer will reveal whether your sacrifice is an act of devotion or the key that locks away your own life. One of the most subtle yet destructive signals in love is when your emotions gradually become dependent on the moods of your partner. When they are happy, you can finally breathe. When they are upset or angry, you walk as if on a minefield, measuring every word, every gesture, just to avoid an explosion. At first glance, this might look like care, but in truth, it is the loss of emotional sovereignty. You are no longer living to the rhythm of your own inner world, but dragged into the emotional storm of another. Over time, you grow exhausted because each day is spent anticipating their moods instead of listening to your own. Stoic philosophy sees self-mastery as the foundation of freedom. Epictetus said, "It is not events themselves that disturb us, but the way we perceive them." When you hand over control of your emotions to another, you have surrendered the very ability to remain steady in life. And love, instead of supporting you, becomes a form of emotional imprisonment. A healthy relationship must allow both people to experience their own emotions without forcing the other to carry or control them. Balance means I can empathize with your sadness, but I do not lose myself inside it. If you find that you exist only as a mirror reflecting someone else's moods, then that is not love. It is a sign you have already lost your emotional freedom. No one enters love without insecurities. Insecurity is a common feeling. Sometimes we just need reassurance, a look that affirms we are still loved. This is normal, and it can be eased through honest sharing. But the difference lies here when insecurity no longer comes from within you, but from the very foundation of the relationship itself. If you have ever been deceived, if you have ever discovered betrayal, then your doubts afterward are no longer imagination. They are real fears fed by painful experience. And when the foundation has already been shaken, no promise can ever fully quiet your heart. In Stoic philosophy, there is a vital lesson: distinguish between what is within your control and what is not. You can train yourself to ease inner anxiety, but you cannot shoulder alone a relationship that is inherently unsafe. Trust must be built from both sides. If you constantly live with doubt, unsure if their words are true, uncertain if their trips are innocent, then this is no longer just your personal insecurity. It is a signal that the very structure of the relationship is fractured, and when the foundation of a house is weak, no one can build a home that lasts. A healthy relationship is not a place where you must gather evidence to believe. It is a place where trust flows naturally. Without that trust, love becomes only a fragile illusion. One of the clearest signs of a toxic relationship is the loss of balance between the I and the we. At the beginning, wanting to be close to spend much time together is natural, but if over time you lose your friends, your interests, even your personal dreams just to revolve around your partner, then love has crossed a dangerous line. Closeness is not the same as erasure. A lasting bond is when two people walk side by side while still keeping the independence necessary to grow. If you no longer have time for yourself, if every choice where to go, who to see, what to do, must depend on your partner, then you are living inside the closed circle of distorted love. Stoic philosophy has emphasized, be yourself before being part of anything. In love, this means only when you preserve your identity does the relationship truly have life. Two candles can only illuminate each other if they burn brightly on their own, not if they are melted into a single fragile flame about to die. A healthy relationship gives you the space to become the best version of yourself. It does not limit you. It encourages you to step out to experience and to return with a soul made fuller by life. If you feel yourself growing smaller in love, then it is time to pause and ask, is this love nourishing me, or is it shrinking who I truly am? Looking back at the 8 signs we have explored, you may notice that they rarely appear all at once. They slip quietly into everyday life. The loss of honest communication, the absence of support, neglected personal needs, controlling behaviors, sacrifices turned into chains, emotional dependence, broken trust, and the loss of individuality. Each one is a red flag, whispering that love may be drifting off its healthy path. Stoic philosophy does not teach us to avoid love out of fear of pain. It teaches us to be clear-eyed to recognize what kind of love truly nourishes the soul. A worthy relationship will never demand that you give up your freedom, your dignity, or your identity. On the contrary, it will encourage you to grow, to stand firm, and to remain calm even when storms come. If you recognize yourself in these signs, do not rush to blame yourself. We all lose our way in love at times. What matters is stopping, looking clearly, and finding the courage to walk in the right direction. Sometimes letting go is not a loss at all, but an opening, a chance to discover a love that is purer, steadier, and more enduring. Thank you for walking with me through this reflection. If these words have resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience may become a source of encouragement for someone else. And if you wish to continue this journey, blending psychology with Stoic philosophy, consider subscribing to this channel, a place that reminds you each day that you are choosing to nurture a stronger, freer soul.